and welcome back for another TIFF 2019 interview. I say this a lot, but I mean it. This is an extra special one. I'm going to explain why. We are talking about the short film Thirsty right now with Jay Ellis and Nicole Delaney. So 2 reasons I'll say off the top why it's a special one is because, Jay, I love you from Escape Room. Everyone at Collider knows, like, I have a weird obsession with that movie, so we'll get that out of the way. I went to grad school with Nicole, and I really can't even begin to tell you how excited I get when someone from our class has a really great accomplishment like this, and then we get to support it. So all the congratulations.
We're so happy to be here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Thirsty. For everybody out there who has no clue what your short film is about, quick elevator pitch. What is it?
Elevator pitch. Thirsty is about a mosquito voiced by Maya Rudolph who falls in love with a man after she tastes his blood. And he's been recently cheated on by his girlfriend. And so after he's bitten on his private parts, he wakes up in the morning thinking he's contracted some kind of crazy thing because he's been cheated on. But it's really a mosquito bite. And over the course of the film, he starts to hear the desperate longing musings of this mosquito. And then turns into a mosquito himself.
I'm so curious about your relationship with mosquitoes right now. Do you look at them like fondly?
They
Do you wonder these things?
ate me alive on the East Coast, and I was like, I'm fighting for you. What is this karmic retribution that I'm getting? Because I was bitten everywhere last week. But it did give me a higher awareness of, I think before I kill an insect now. Yeah. But no insects were harmed in the making of this film.
That's very, very encouraging. I feel like in LA, I have not suffered a single mosquito bite. And when I spent 1 weekend at home in New York, Labor Day weekend, like my ankles are covered in them, and I can't stand it. Has this changed your outlook on mosquitoes?
I mean, anytime.
Or bugs in general.
Anytime a mosquito voiced by Maya Rudolph bites you, I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
That is life-changing.
That's real love.
That's real love. Yeah, it's life-changing. No, I do find myself, letting bugs out of the house more often, not stepping on them more often.
We're just trying to create a higher awareness for insects here.
It's funny because I also do think about, like, maybe they love us, and that's why they bite us.
I don't think that's going to cure my fear of bees, but I appreciate the sentiment. All right, just some information that I'm going to put in my back pocket in case this happens, because another thing that I discovered when I moved to LA is that there is an overabundance of gigantic spiders. What do you do when you cross a spider? How do you get it out of the house without killing it?
Call my mom, and you're welcome to call her as well.
Jenny.
She's the best, exactly.
I'm definitely calling your mom.
Yeah.
Jenny's amazing. Jenny can fix anything.
She can.
Especially
genius.
barbecue.
Yeah.
I would believe it, because now I can know where you got it from.
I put a glass on them and then slide the paper under the glass and then carry it out.
Oh, that's
Slide
kind.
of paper. I try to like double cup it, but at that point you run the risk of it falling between the cracks of the cups, and that's very scary, especially when the spider's really high up.
Why are you playing with your life like that? Why?
I get so panicked that I can't think straight anymore. It's awful. Something we talk about on Collider often, because a lot of the viewers out there, they want to be filmmakers too. And one of the big questions is, should you go to film school? And I can never give like a broad answer, because I do think it's very, very personal. But given the fact that we graduated from the same program, what is your take on that question?
Everyone in LA, I grew up in LA, everyone in LA told me not to go to film school. And of course I did it anyway. But really what film school did was it bought me a chunk of time to write and create a portfolio for myself. And the other thing that film school did is it introduced me to people who are my ride or dies. People who, when I was finally ready to direct, said, we're here for you. And they crewed for me, and they listened to me going crazy about the script and consulted me on my shots. And such a strong team. Our film school was repped, the editor, the co-writer, the producer. I mean, it's incredible that we have met such supportive people. That's what I would recommend, is just meeting other filmmakers who are going in the trenches with you.
Absolutely. So Jay, from your perspective, having worked on this, I'm curious to see if you name a Columbia student, who would you say is the unsung hero of the Thirsty production team?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
JP.
Yeah, it's JP 100%. It's
our cinematographer.
He's something else.
He's a very special dude. He's very, very talented. When you see the short, I mean, I look amazing. But
Boy.
the entire movie just absolutely looks amazing, and what he was able to do in creating this mosquito was absolutely amazing, and the POV for the mosquito was brilliant. Just a really smart dude who was also very good at improvising, but never settling or compromising quality, which I think is really important.
You're so right. And I think like the film itself, trying to find the cinematic language for Maya's point of view, and then objectively shooting him, who's, you know, our sort of damsel in distress character. And
Who, me?
I think JP, you know, we were able to find a language that was very distinct for both characters, so you know where you are in the story when you're with each of them or with them together.
How do you get Maya Rudolph on board to voice Mosquito?
I wrote on a show called Big Mouth, and Maya plays the hormone monstress. And it was working on that show that I got a real glimpse into her incredible range as a voice artist. And not to mention as a performer, as an actor on screen, but she is just like, she's unbelievable. And my bosses at Big Mouth sent her a letter that I wrote, and I'd sent her the script, and you know, I wrote it with the two of them in mind, so it was already like the fact that this vision came true is kind of crazy when you write a script for actors. And yeah, Maya and I had lunch, and she said, "I'm your mosquito."
How did you two meet? Did you know each other well before this?
We did. We met through our friend Erin. Yeah.
And Jay, what is it like for you amassing like a resume of projects right now? Because, you know, you have Escape Room, you have the Top Gun coming up, and then you pick up a short film. And I always applaud that. And I feel like a lot of actors out there don't do that. They go to features, and it's like features and nothing else. So is it important to you to keep adding things like this to your resume as you go along?
Yeah, you know, it's important, I think, for a lot of reasons. I think, if it ever helps a filmmaker in any way, I am more than willing to be there. But then also, like, there are a lot of voices who don't necessarily get the $100 million platform or $30 million platform, right? And they are just as talented. And I want to work with them. And I love being a part of their careers and getting to know them and getting to know their cinematic style and the way they tell stories and why they tell stories and their POV. And so for me, it's always about, you know, there's tons of voices to be heard, and any chance I get to be a part of that and helping some of those voices is a lot of fun. I get to bounce around a lot. You know, it's obviously, it's very fulfilling artistically as well.
Jay's a storyteller.
So
really, like, you are a storyteller. Yeah. So I see the way he thinks and the way he strategizes, sorry to interrupt, and the way he approaches cinema is from that of a storyteller. And he's going to be making his own stories soon. So it's like that. I think that's why you love directors. Yeah. And yeah.
I can tell.
I love when directors love me. I mean, that's just, you know what I mean? Any directors out there.
You're so nice.
It's just, you know, when you guys love me, it's love, you know?
It is important, and collaboration is important. That's one of the things I appreciated about our program, is that like you walk in with that dream of finding the perfect person to keep working with, and when it actually happens, it's so special. So given the fact that I think you two value that quite a bit, what is just like a key asset that a collaborator that you're about to work with has to have? What's one of the most important things you look for someone that you're about to work with?
Honesty. And trust, because I don't think a lot of people, it's not easy to take notes both ways, right? We both have our intentions for a character. We both have our assumption of what the actor should do, the character should do, the director should do. And I think with Jay, he's very honest. He's really good at communicating. But what I noticed being on set with him was that Jay is so versatile, and I would about to be giving him an idea, and he'd be like, "Oh, why don't I try it this way?" And I'd be like, "You already knew what I was going to say before I even said it," and then would just give me things I didn't even know I wanted. And then when you have all that in the edit to work with, all of a sudden you have a story that's like taking on so many different nuances, because we just wrote the thing, right? I have to put a camera in front of you, but then he was able to communicate above and beyond. That was what I would, yeah.
Mine is POV. Mine is POV. And I think I feel safe, right? I think it goes back to trust and honesty and communication. But for me, it starts with POV, because if I can understand a writer or a director's POV, whether I agree with it or not, right? It's not important. But if I can understand it, then I can find my way into being comfortable into A, either being able to play, or B, being able to take a note, right? Because if I can understand your POV, even if I don't see it the same way, the fact that you have it makes me go, okay, I can trust that we're at least going to get to that thing that you see and that you believe, right? And for me, when you walk onto a set and you got a bunch of people staring at you that you don't know, and you have to be vulnerable, you have to open up, it is a time where you really want a safe space. And knowing that someone is getting you to a very specific place, I think for me allows me to open up and have that freedom, because I trust them. And I can be honest with them also, and they can be honest with me. So that's for me.
So as we wind down here, because I love those mentalities so much, I have to always ask, what is coming up next for you first, Nicole? Do you want to make another short? Do you want to be writing on another show? What's the dream?
Yeah, I'm hopefully making another short this fall that would be sort of like Brandon Zuck wrote. That I think would round out what I hope to be my last short before kind of emerging into the next phase, which is feature phase. But I write TV. I'm developing a few shows that I'll hopefully be taking out this fall.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I feel like saying you're doing your next project with Brandon Zuck is a perfect next step. So
he's the best.
He really
Zuck
is.
is great.
And
What about you,
Jay,
sir?
of course, I have to ask you about Top Gun. A whole lot of people out there, including myself, are very excited about that movie. Do you get to work a lot with Tom Cruise?
I did get to work quite a bit with Tom. It was amazing. He's a mentor. He's a filmmaker. Again, someone who has a very strong point of view and can communicate it very clearly, and it allows you to be able to go out and play. And he definitely he looked out for us.
Did you run him in a race by chance?
I did not run him in a race.
Just
Nobody wants to see the
curious.
Tom Cruise race. You can't see Tom Cruise's feet. Like, he's just too fast.
He's so freaking fast.
Nobody wants that.
Did he get you involved in any crazy stunts?
TBD.
Okay, TBD. Are you allowed to tell us anything about your character?
TBA, to be announced. How about that?
Okay, I'll take
Am I allowed to tell you anything about my character? I'm a pilot,
that. Okay.
so I may or may not fly.
He's slick.
I'll pocket that, and I'll think about
There's
it a
only
little,
so
and I'll
much
come
I'm allowed
back
to
to
say.
you with my
Paramount's
answer
gonna be
eventually.
mad at me.
Understandable.
There's only so much I'm allowed to say.
A
But it was
very-
absolutely an amazing experience.
A very, very
Yeah.
exciting thing to have
Yeah.
coming up, and a very exciting thing to have your short film premiering at TIFF. You should both be
So
very, very
excited.
proud.
So excited.
For everyone out there, please, is there going to be a time in the future where everyone out there can watch Thirsty one way or the other?
Yes.
Is that the goal?
Actually, Thirsty's part of FX's new upcoming program called Cake. Cake, which is like little bite-sized, fun, like 30-second spots, 1-minute spot, and ours is one of the longer pieces of Cake that's coming out this fall.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I love that FX is doing that.
Yeah,
so
it's awesome.
keep an eye out. Thirsty on FX. Again, thank you so much for your time today. Before we say goodbye, another thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Nordstrom Canada. Thank you so much for making these interviews happen. Guys, this is not the last you've seen of us at TIFF 2019. There are so many more interviews coming to the channel, so keep an eye out. Like and share this one, and we'll see you soon with more coverage.